Okay. To my right is Leilani Guyon. We call her Stitch. And this is Zay Dyer to my left. I think this game was lost in the first few minutes of the first quarter and the first few minutes of the third quarter. We we came out at the beginning of the third quarter with three straight turnovers when we were probably the most amped up and wanting to play the best. We were only down by 4 after being down by 14 in the first half. So we had some momentum going. We just needed to carry it out. But unfortunately, we turned the ball over 3 times and they scored off of them. And in the first quarter, they got way ahead of us. They could not miss a shot. We were missing some reads. We were missing some assignments. And it kind of rattled us, and it's hard to come back and make shots after that. But, I'm proud of them once they settled down after that run that James Madison made in the first quarter. We were able to dig back into it before the half. We lost to a very good team today, very well-coached team that's on a very great roll. I think they were 9 in a row, and they just kept playing better and better. Even when we saw them in this tournament, they were coming out, they shot 75% in the first half of their first game, and they've been shooting well. So, it's not like we came out and lost to a chump team tonight by any means. We wish James Madison all the best in the tournament. They've worked very hard to get there. My team has worked very hard as well to get there. Of course, we're brokenhearted. This is really not the way we wanted to end, of course, and definitely not the way we want to represent Troy. We feel like the only way to properly represent Troy is with the championship. So they gave it their all, and I'm very proud. It's a 25-win season for this team. Broke many national records this year. Also the highest GPA of any team that's ever been at Troy. So I'm proud of this team for many reasons, and I'm just going to keep uplifting those things.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll open for questions. Go ahead, Paul.
Paul Chestnut, Fox
Hey,
Sports,
Paul.
Pensacola Radio. What's it like trying to put a game plan together against this team, especially Peyton McDaniel, who really she ended up winning MVP?
Yeah, so all season, us not playing James Madison, that's the only team in the conference we didn't play. So we would be watching the games after we would, looked at the next game we needed to play. We would look at their games and how they were doing, and I just kept thinking that all year. Like, I don't want this team's any attempt. It was almost like they didn't exist throughout conference because we didn't play them. So to our team, it was like they didn't exist. But, the coaches we were watching, and we knew, like, wow, if we were to meet them in that time in the tournament where you don't even get a practice really in between, that's going to be the toughest scout. But we were hoping they were saying the same thing about us because, we can be hard to prepare for as well. But, as I watched it go down the stretch, I realized it was going to be a huge challenge. And it was really hard to narrow down what to talk about in the hotel room last night because that's really all we had. And this team did an amazing job of retaining what we wanted to give them. But, again, on defense, we tried to give them 3 points, which is a lot to cover in one, not even a practice. On different assignments, we tried to narrow it down. And we didn't nearly cover everything that needed to be covered to beat that team.
Coach, you guys chipped away in that first half, cut it to 1, I think on 2 different occasions. How surprising was that third quarter start from them, and why do you think that was?
Again, we started, that was the thing. Like, we, to me, had the momentum going into halftime, or at least that's the way I saw it, because we kept fighting back. They had such a comfortable lead, and we barreled back and like you say, cut it to 1, and then by halftime it was 4. And then, we would have to go back and look at it, the reason for those turnovers. But again, they capitalized off of every one of those turnovers that we made. And that's basketball. That's tough basketball right there. If we could go back, that'd probably be one thing we'd change. But we can't go back. And I do think that that's a big thing that turned the game because everything seemed to be in their favor from then on out.
Hunter Boozer, Troy Division News. It's been an historic season for you guys. You broke the all-time wins record for Troy women's basketball. You've been leading the nation in double-doubles all season. Y'all been leading for rebounding, all this stuff. So what's next for Troy women's basketball going into the postseason and into next year?
So first of all, Hunter and you guys, I thank y'all for coming from Troy both days, driving back and forth. Thank you so much for all you do for us. We don't know if there's postseason play yet. We're not going to know. We're not in a position to be guaranteed any postseason play, even though we had a 25-win season. We finished second in the regular season. We finished second in this tournament. You would think we would, but we're not sure. So the message in the locker room is, I literally have, and I said this last night, I literally in my 34 years as a head coach have not seen as much growth as in individuals as I have the ladies on this team, and that's credit to them. They're always reading, always absorbing, always processing, and wanting to be better young women. And so the next thing for us is to take the lessons that they pushed through to learn this year to be even more successful than they're in later life than they would have been if they wouldn't have been in this program with each other and the synergy of improving as women happening all the time at Troy. And so that's what's next. That's the one thing that we're certain about is the lessons aren't lost. It hurts them now, but we will have time to process so many things that they've improved on and become stronger on, and then we hope for postseason play where we can execute that out on the floor again. That's what we hope for. But again, it's always striving for new heights. That's what we're always doing here.
Go ahead, Paul.
Jen, how difficult is it to win this tournament? You won it before last year. Obviously, we all know James Madison, having favored their number 3, and they won it this year. What's it like just battling in this tournament, no matter where you're at and seeded?
It's very elusive to win this tournament. It's very difficult. So many things come at you from different areas. I've been the top pick and won it, and I've been a low seed and won it. And I've been in both of those situations and come in the middle, and I have won before. But it's so many things have to go right to win it. So many things. And the one thing we did have right this year is we had the personnel to do it. Not just the talent, but we had the hearts. We had the maturity to do it. But we ran into another team today that also had it. And they played better today. And they've been playing better. They've been consistently playing better. We caught them during that time. But it takes a whole package to win this thing. It takes a great coaching staff. It takes players that come in with the will to do it. I've had players that come in with the will to do it, but they didn't have the maturity to do it. So it's a lot of factors that go into winning this tournament.
Back here in the front.
For Leilani and Zay, Coach talks about taking lessons from this experience. What lessons can you guys take moving forward?
Trusting God. Yeah, I would say definitely trusting God because, at the end of the day, He wakes us up every morning. He gives us an opportunity to, play the game that we love. And so that's not something that, we take for granted or take lightly. And just knowing that, His will is His will. And no matter if we want to lose, if we want to win, if it's His will that we don't win, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, His grace and His mercy is sufficient every day. And, we're living for Him and we're not necessarily, living for basketball. But He gives us the gift to play and the opportunity to play, and we're thankful for that. And so, yeah, that's what we're here for.
In the back.
Yeah, Coach Lindsey Bonner, WAKA. If you touched on it a minute ago, if you were to make a case to people sitting in the room making decisions about postseason, what would your case for this team be?
It would start with just look at our numbers across the nation. The records we've broken. Looked at the fact that we're the only team in the nation with 2 post players averaging double-doubles, the only one. We have the nation's most efficient scorer, 3-point shooter, in Imani Jenkins, who didn't get going in this tournament. But we have other records that have been broken throughout the year. If you look, just go to the NCAA website, the stats website, and see how many categories Troy is in the top 10 in. And also, it is the former players and the programs that we're standing on their shoulders. It's the body of work of this program. We're the most successful championship-winning program, men or women's, in the entire Sun Belt in the last 10 years. And that's a lot of good teams. So the body of work over the years, it speaks for itself. They're the type of team, if you look at it, the resiliency that what we've done in the WNIT by 2 years ago, getting in the WNIT and making a run all the way to the Final Four, losing 90% of our score and 80% of our rebound, and coming back the next year, making it to the championship game. We're the queens of second chances. We're going to make the best of the chance we get. We approach it as everybody's heart's broken in postseason if you don't get to the NCAA tournament. We're the queen of getting up after a broken heart. We're the best at it. There is no team better at it. If you look at our record of what we've done when we get that opportunity in postseason play, that's my case.
Paul.
Shannon, I want to go back to how difficult it is to win this tournament with the layout that it has right now 2 years in a row. And I'm not, going to be against it or for it with it. You got streaky teams this year that we've seen in year two. Your men's team playing against one tonight. So it doesn't matter where you end up, I guess, huh? With it the way that it is all laid out here, because so what Georgia Southern, if they ain't ready, then you got to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's such a unicorn of a bracket. I definitely understand why the Sun Belt has chosen to play it, to protect, because we seem to only be able to ever get one seed in the NCAA tournament, and we want that seed to have the best chance to shine, so we do want to protect our top seeds. You look at the South Alabama, the way they were playing at the end of the year, and in this tournament, the women's basketball team, if they would have made it this championship game, could they have beaten JMU? There's a chance of that, because like you say, the teams get hot, but it doesn't give them that advantage to keep going almost. We'll see tonight at our men's game, because they're playing a team that had to win 6 games in 6 days, I think. But, there's a lot of arguments for and against our bracket. We had it as good as a team can have it. We only had to win 2 games. But the other side of it is you're only going to play the best of the best once you get to these 2 games. So we're proud to have won that first one, and we fell short in this one. But it's very hard.
What are the chances that this league can get two in the tournament?
I mean,
Not this year, but I'm talking in the future.
Well, just look at what James Madison women did last year. They went undefeated. They beat 2 Power 5 teams, Power 4 teams. Their body of work was incredible. Their net score was the lowest it's ever been in this conference, and they didn't get a nod for it. And we ask why, and they say, because a couple of teams they beat, they only beat by 10 points or 12 points. Well, if we'd have thought of that, we'd have told coach to leave their starters in the whole time. We wouldn't give, So I don't know, but no, I don't. It'd be very hard to beat the body of work that James Madison had last year, comprehensively all year. They did end up losing to Arkansas State in the championship of this tournament, and all eyes were of the whole nation of NCAA women's basketball was on that situation, because they were like, if James Madison can't get that second bid, there's no hope for a conference that doesn't already have more than one bid. There's no hope. It really crushed the hopes of people, teams across the board, conferences across the board that don't already have two bids. I mean, there's Power 4 teams that James Madison, myself, several teams in our conference that will beat Power 4 teams that will be in the NCAA tournament. But we just won't get. We won't. I don't think we'll have anybody ever, and unless something changes.
All right, back in the front.
For players, you guys have embraced the WNIT the last 2 years, making far runs. Why do you think that is, and what does it say about the maturity of this team that even through disappointment, you guys have been able to rebound?
I think it's just, again, having an opportunity. God blesses us with an opportunity to play again, so we're not going to take it for granted. There's a lot of teams that don't go into post play, so it's like, why wouldn't we go into post play resilient? Why wouldn't we go into post play wanting to win? It's another opportunity to play the sport that we love. It's another opportunity that God's given us to just play, and give Him glory through that. And so, I think that's why we're so ready to just go out and play, because we get that opportunity. A lot of teams don't. After they, lose in a tournament, that's it for them. So, we don't take it for granted.
And we've both been part of those postseason runs in the WNIT. So we've had teammates who didn't want to play, but then Coach Rigby comes in and she's like, "Well, we are the champions of broken hearts. We're gonna do something with the hurt that we have. We're gonna turn it into momentum." And every year we've done it. So if we have that opportunity to play in the WNIT, we're gonna take it. Us too, we're gonna encourage our teammates to want to be a part of that, and hopefully we win.
Yeah, so we have fans that follow us and that we reach out to and we connect with, whether it's young cancer patients, whether it's people who don't have the opportunity to play, like we have the opportunity to play. That's why I think Stitch mentioned that. And we want to be a beacon for them. Like, what does that say whenever we're all getting to ride around on buses and eat at nice places and represent our universities playing a game? And what does that say if we don't try to take advantage of everything that we can possibly do, that we get an opportunity to do? And these players understand that. They understand that, and we just want to just shine in those moments of second opportunities and say thank you, God, that we get to play for Troy another day. You know, we want to be the most grateful team.
In the back here.
Hey, Coach. Jimmy Nichols, Troy Trojan Vision News. You kind of touched on it at the start, but I just wanted you to ask, what does the resiliency of this team mean to you? Because, like you said, both starts at the halves didn't really go y'all's way the way you wanted, but your team kept fighting, kept trying to get back into that game. What does that mean to you as a coach?
Thank you. So at this point in time in my career, you know, I've kind of seen a lot in my career, and I know that that's the thing I'm most grateful for, because that's the thing they're going to need when they go out in the world is resiliency. You know, that's what's going to make them champions in life. You cannot be beat if you keep getting up, if you don't quit in life, if you just keep going. And so that's what I want to see from them. I didn't want to see it with a loss, but I'm going to take that away as a positive. They never give up no matter what, and that's what's going to make them do big things, accomplish the big goals that they're going to set.
Coach Justin Fitzgerald, Pensacola News Journal. I know you coached at PSC earlier in
Yes.
your career. This tournament's kept coming back here. What's it been like just return every year to Pensacola?
Well, when I was coaching at Pensacola State, your mayor was sitting in your seat right there. He was covering our stories, and I saw him out here the other day, D.C. Reeves, and you know, it means a lot to come back to Pensacola. My pastor from Olive Baptist Church, Ted Traylor, has messaged me, you know, every day coming into the tournament. He was here today, supporting me, and you know, it means a lot to be back in the town of Pensacola.
All right. Any final questions?
One more, Shane. What are you going to remember, take away from this team? You've coached many teams here. You said, you know, yesterday this special team.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
take away from it?
The first thing that comes to mind is I'm always standing in front of my teams with, I think I explained what MTAC was, more than a champion. It's our program of, you know, taking out moments of every week, scheduling time to build them as young women. My staff identifies things that could build them up, and we work on those things, whether it's mock interviews for a job, whether it's changing a tire, whether it's which fork to use at a 5-course meal, whatever. So I'm going to remember about this team is every time we went into those lessons, you know, a lot of times players, kids their age or young women their age, they're like, oh, here we go again, you know. We got to listen to coach with all these life lessons, and they don't get it. But this is how they sat in those meetings, or maybe with a pen taking notes. I'm going to remember how much they wanted to get better, and Zay could tell you right now before we leave, like why she came back to Troy when she had so many offers for much bigger money to go elsewhere. So I'll just leave it with that and tell you that I'm going to remember how much they wanted to improve, and I can't wait to follow what they do in their lives. And let Zay tell you why that situation of what made you decide to come back to Troy.
Because of this lady right here.
Oh, no, not that. Not that, but you wanted to improve.
I mean, I didn't think there was a better coaching staff out there for me. So, yeah.
She loves Troy. She loves Troy. When we went on our bus today to get off, all the little kids that they have impacted were like from camp and just all the impact. Their parents drove them over here because that's how much these players mean to them and mean to our community and the support we have. So it's a beautiful thing. We're sad we lost today, but I've not lost overall because I got to coach them. I'm sorry, my voice is out.